Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Stranger Things Has Happened. I'm Don Della Snooch. That is Kelly Lunar Girl. That seems weird to say it that way.
Yeah, I'm LG.
All right,
Just
LG it is.
LG. Yeah.
Um, this is the beginning of season 3.
hmm
Season 3, chapter 1. Susie, can you hear me? Um,
What are your initial thoughts on it?
my initial thoughts are it's good to be back into this.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
and I kind of forgot how fucking weird this show is.
Oh my gosh, I haven't watched. I'm being faithful. I haven't watched a single episode since we ended I'm sorry, season 2, and it blew my mind and got me excited all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't wait to see where this season takes us.
Right.
And again, friends, you're watching us. It is daylight out because we are pre-recording it to fit into our schedule, but we are live in the chat down there. So give us a thumbs up if you could. Help us out a little bit. New, brand new intro there. And we're in a brand new time slot. We're at 9 p.m. We moved up in the world. So
We did. We're prime time.
we're
No.
prime time. And we'll be coming to you live premiere every other Saturday. So we'll be back in 2 weeks after tonight. So
Yeah. But I won't be here right now because now is not happening now. I'll be at Comic-Con meeting Kevin Smith.
Comic-Con?
Yeah.
Astronomicon. Oh, meeting Kevin Smith.
That's the thing. And Jamie.
You lucky boy, you.
Yeah. Couldn't resist. Me and Brady won tickets.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah. Don't worry. I am live down there in the chat now, which is not now. It's then, but it's now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's happening. It doesn't matter.
Strange.
It's happening.
Stranger things are happening.
So housekeeping taken care of. You got 45 minutes to tell us about this show. What do you think? You ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I've been ready.
Let's do this. Opening scene, June 28th, 1984. We are in some Russian military lab, okay? Like, at first I thought, like, oh, they reopened the lab and cleaned it up. No, we're in Russia, okay? We see the guys in the hazmat suits walking around. There's these 2 scientists in an office that is enclosed, encased by windows, and they each have a key and they have to insert that key at the same time. So one can't do it without the other. And you see this giant something that reminded me of this Hadron Collider.
Yeah.
Okay.
It reminded me kind of like, it looked kind of like a jet engine.
Yeah.
But it really reminded me of like that first Transformers movie when Optimus Prime's arm turned into a cannon.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember that?
Back. I remember that.
All this swirling, whirling mechanical parts that you're like, I don't know that any of those make a gun, but here we are.
And there's lightning shooting out everywhere. Like, you're almost expecting to see the Emperor come out of the center, but no, it didn't happen. And like it aims at what looks like a sealed door to the upside down is what I got in my head, but why there is a sealed door to the upside down in Russia, I have no clue. I guess we'll find that out later. The lab starts shaking. Yeah.
I assume that they were testing a weapon that was supposed to bore into the rock for like a military weapon. Like, hey, we're going to dig underneath people and like, zap them or whatever. And instead of digging through this, it opens a portal.
Right. Right. A portal. But I just figured it was to the upside down. So maybe they had like a spy in the old lab in Hawkins or something.
But isn't this before that?
I think it's the same year as season 2 because it was 1984. But I'm not exactly sure. I'm fuzzy on that.
Okay. I don't remember.
Me, go back and check that and then let us know.
Yeah, me. This is me in real time telling me. And next later time.
Yeah, me in the future. Go check that out and let us know. Write it down so that you can correct the show in 2 weeks.
This is turning into an episode of Bill and Ted.
Or Spaceballs.
I always have coffee when I watch Radar.
Oh God, I love Bill and Ted. Anyway, so this thing fires up, the lab starts shaking, it explodes, and all the dudes in the hazmat suits instantly become like pink mist. There's like just like bleh, everywhere. It's like bleh. It's just like yeah. And then this soldier dude comes up and starts choking the one scientist, and he chokes him to death and just throws him. He just like picks him up, like chokes him, and then like bleh, he's done. And then and then that minion soldier, he's walking out with the head bald Russian guy.
Yeah.
Commander, general, I don't know what he is yet. We'll find out later. So end scene, and now it's 1 year later and everything's happy. It's summertime. Elle and Mike are making out in Elle's room. You hear Corey Hart playing on the radio. Never surrender.
See, there was a whole bunch of music in this episode that I was like, oh, fuck that song.
I wanted to go back and write down all the songs because like I love 80s music. Okay. Like,
but this episode had a lot of shit in it that I just don't like.
So great. You didn't like it?
No, I hate that song.
Oh, I don't know how we're friends sometimes.
I'm not a girl.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. And Elle was playing it on her little pink tape deck. I had a very similar tape deck to that. So they're making out in the bedroom, and then it pans out to like Hopper, nervous dad. He's like stuffing his face with Tostitos and sitting on the couch, and you know he's freaking out, and he leans his recliner back ever so slightly, quietly, and peeks into Elle's bedroom because the door is open just a little bit. And he freaks out. He's like, hey, what are you doing in there? Because he catches a glimpse of them making out. Elle uses her force to shut the door, which is what I would have done. And Hopper gets up. He's bitching, you know, we have a 3-inch rule. Open that door 3 inches. And he opens the door, and there's Elle and Mike sitting down like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, and he's like come on.
Hey, man, what's up? So I thought that was pretty funny. I had a good time with that, seeing the evolution of Hopper from season 1, who was like this drunken bastard, to now season 3, he's overprotective dad.
Right. Yeah, he definitely turned a corner there.
Absolutely. I loved it. Like, yeah. Awesome. So now we meet up with Will. You know, eventually Mike leaves, pedals his little bike. He meets up with Will and Lucas and Max at the mall. I mean, can you get any more 80s than that? They're walking through the mall, you know, because they're late for a movie premiere. Well, they're afraid that they're going to be late to a movie premiere. Lucas's little sister is like just about a teenager. She looks like a preteen now.
Yeah.
Maybe 13. And she's like, you know, you're a dork, you're a dweeb, blah, 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 nerd, blah. The gang gets to an ice cream parlor, okay? And there's this chick, like, she looks stuck up and everything, Robin. So I don't know how I feel about her yet, but I guess she's
Oh
going to be
gosh, I
the
think she's
character of the
cute.
season. You think
She's
she's
super
cute?
cute. Yeah.
Oh, she's got sass. She's definitely got sass. And she's like, Steve, your children are here, which I thought was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
I love Steve. Steve's back. He sneaks them into the back corridor where, all the mall back doors are.
Yeah.
And he's like, if I get caught, you guys are dead, blah, blah, blah. And they go and they sneak into the back door of the movie theater, like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Steve is doing nice things for them. And they sit down to watch Day of the Dead. Everything's nice. And bam!
I don't remember that movie.
I vaguely remember that movie.
I completely
so
don't
slight.
remember the arms coming through the wall or anything like that.
Well,
I was like, man, I know I've seen this, but fuck, how long's it been?
We'll have to watch it. Oh. Got my mocha.
Zombies.
Got mocha tonight. I love zombie flicks. Anyway, so there's a power outage. Everything in the mall goes out. And then you see the whole damn town blacks out. Okay. They shift a focus on this abandoned warehouse. Okay. You see something manifesting in the dirt. Okay. And then the lights go on. Everything's fine. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's back to normal, except Will is like freaking out.
Yeah,
and then he goes into flashback mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Will. He's just got like PTSD and can't blame him. Can't blame him after everything that kid's been through.
I don't think so. I don't think he has PTSD. I think his connection to a thing that's happening is, you know what I mean? It's not so much that he's like, oh, PTSD, he'd be imagining it. Like this, whatever this thing is, just crossed back into our reality and he picked up on it. Like, I don't, it's more ESP than.
You see, I thought that later in the show in the mountains scene, but I didn't think that just yet. But that is a great point. It probably is their connection.
Yeah, so far he hasn't freaked out except for when he walked out of the arcade and last
yes
season. And even that was probably more foreshadowing than it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Poor kid though. Yeah. So we're done with this scene. Now we're on Nancy and Jonathan are waking up in bed together. And Nancy's freaking out because they didn't reset the clock after the power outage because it's the next morning. They wake up late. Nancy grabs her clothes. She jumps out the freaking window. Jonathan comes out like nothing happened. He's like, hey mom, I know breakfast, I'm late for work. And Joyce is like, come here. And because she's trying to wipe off the lipstick off his face, like, dude, mom's no. So she wipes the lipstick off of Jonathan's face. Will is like, ew, that's gross. And they go to work. Done.
Right.
Now we're on to Dustin. We got to introduce him because we didn't see him at the movie theater. And I was wondering, where is he? Well, he was away for a month. Okay. And my assumption is he was away at like probably science camp or something.
That's specifically what they said. You must have missed it.
I must have missed that.
Yeah, he was at a science camp.
Yeah. He's in the car with his mom. He's trying to contact the gang on the walkie-talkies. Nobody's answering him. He feels completely forgotten. He goes into the house, at least his turtle's there for him. He's like, oh, nobody cares. Hey, where'd you go? Hi, friends. Well, anyway, I'll just keep on going until Dawn comes back. Hey, you're back.
Stupid button on the side of the
Did you hit the button on the mouse again? Did you hit that button on the mouse again?
I did, and I didn't like it.
I thought so. It's okay.
It's the dumbest place to put a button like that.
You see, I have 2 buttons on my mouse, but I don't touch them. I touch, underneath the 2 buttons where there's no buttons.
Yeah, I understand that, except my thumb's probably twice as big as yours.
It probably is. Or maybe not. I do have manly hands.
I
But...
got big paws. They're never mind.
What size cup are your paws? Never mind.
They're a deep C.
Deep sea. Almost a D.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, like, poor Dustin. Nobody cares. He's like Eeyore. Nobody cares. But then all of his toys turn on at the same time, and that kind of creeped me out. But one toy I did notice was the R2D2, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. He's got R2D2. But yeah, all of his toys come to life at the same time. And I've seen too many horror movies that completely freaking creeped me out right there.
So the thing that messed with me is there was an Ultra Magnus toy.
Right.
Transformer, the blue and white. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
He looks like Optimus Prime, but he was blue and white. That and this was motorized. Like when you see it from behind, there's a big motor system built into the ass end of that. That's not the way it came.
Damn.
It was just one of those things where I'm like, oh, okay, guys.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't have shown that angle of that thing because there was 8 people that were like, hey.
But then again, Dustin plays with all of his toys and he makes mods and everything like that. So he could have modded it. Maybe he modded it. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe they just screwed up.
I think they were just trying to do a thing and they didn't think about that.
It's very possible. It's probable.
Yeah.
So he grabs his Farrah Fawcett hairspray.
That shit was so funny.
As a weapon. And he is creeping out into the hallway. And then behind him, when he wasn't looking, there's all of his friends around the corner. And they made like this big banner that says welcome home and everything. They were going to surprise him. And they're like, surprise. And he's like, and he sprays Lucas right in the face with the hairspray. I loved it. Poor Lucas. Farrah Fawcett hairspray all over his eyes.
I just looked it up. There is no motorized version of that. So it's it's either some kind of weird mod or they fucked up.
Yeah, which is very probable. So now we're done with that scene. And we're at the pool, okay? And in addition to all the kids around the pool, the moms, there's like a whole line of moms that are just like, sexifying themselves up. And then there's a lifeguard change. And the chick lifeguard, like, starts walking. And the moms are like, get ready, girls. Get ready. I'm like, what? They're gonna ogle this chick lifeguard that walks past them? No, they're not gonna ogle her because it's Billy's shift.
Fucking
Billy the asshole. Fucking Billy. And you see like Karen's all hot and sweaty, and
fucking
Billy's
Karen.
like,
Karen's.
Oh, you look so good in your new swimming suit. And she's like, got makeup onto the hill. Okay. Chicks, 9 times out of 10, don't wear makeup to the pool because it just washes off.
Especially in the 80s, it did.
Yeah. Like that blue. Oh, man. That peacock blue eyeshadow.
Yeah. I got a kick out of that. I was like, oh, this is 80s all over the place.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that's the end of that scene. We know all the moms want Billy now. As a chick, I don't see the attraction, but whatever. Maybe they're just like, they're all desperate housewives or some shit.
Yeah.
So now we're downtown and we see like downtown's turning into a ghost town. All the businesses are closing. There's a sign up on a telephone pole that says Save Downtown. We see Joyce hanging up a sales sign in the pharmacy. So she no longer works at the hardware store. In fact, the hardware store and Radio Shack, which were right next to each other, are closed. So that's kind of sad. But then in walks Hopper, and I'm like, oh, Hopper and Joyce, Hopper and Joyce. Hopper.
Yeah, you've been shipping them since the beginning.
I totally have. I want this to happen so bad, but we'll see. Right now, Joyce is still hung up on Bob. Hopper starts venting to Joyce about parenting and about how, Mike and Elle, they keep kissing all the time and it's not normal. Typical dad thing to say, especially back in the 80s. Joyce is like, why don't you have a heart-to-heart? And Hopper's like, what's a heart-to-heart?
Yeah, that was weird. That was so weird.
And then he asked Joyce to do it.
Yeah.
Joyce is like, I'm not talking to your kid. That's your kid. That was great. So
fucking problems.
Yeah, exactly. We flash over to Nancy and Will, and it turns out that they both work at the Hawkins Post. So they're with the newspaper. Will is developing photos, and Nancy is basically the coffee bitch. So that's kind of sad because she was so smart, and I know she went to college and everything, and they're making her be the coffee bitch for the summer. We see all the all the heads of the newspaper, all the editors and shit having a big meeting. Jake Busey.
I thought that was wild. I was like, look at this dude.
Yeah. Jake Busey is, I guess, well, since we mainly focused on him making fun of Nancy, he's going to be big in this season, I guess. So
wasn't he in the Back to the Future series at one point?
I don't remember. That was a long time ago, but he was in Starship Troopers.
Yeah, that's what it is that I'm thinking of.
Starship Troopers.
Totally. He was the fucking buddy that was a dipshit all the time.
Yeah, but then he turned good in the end. Spoilers in case you haven't seen this 20-plus-year-old movie.
Yeah, step it up.
Whatever. Yeah, that's not on me. That's on
that
you.
hot chick's boobs are in that movie. You should have seen it.
Her boobs are freaky. They're so pointy. No, boobs don't look like that. I'm sorry.
Some boobs look like that. I'm an expert.
Probably.
I got solid C cup hands, man. I know what I'm doing.
Well, I'm a girl who's been around girls and girls' locker rooms, and I never saw a pair of tits like that.
Yeah, I bet you've never spent as much time concentrating on the tits as I have.
You have a good point there.
Yeah.
I'll give that to you.
All right, moving
on. I wrote Jake Busey an asshole. So that's the end of that scene.
Give me my mustard.
We're back to Lucas. Lucas and Max are in the kitchen. Lucas is trying to wash that Farrah Fawcett hairspray out of his eyes. Dustin and Mike and Elle and Will are in his room, and Dustin's showing them all of his science inventions, and his baby is a radio tower that he built so he could talk to Susie from Utah, which is his girlfriend.
I got a kick out of at first it was oh, this is all in a duffel bag, and then when it gets it all out, it is an elaborate thing.
Yeah.
You didn't pull that out of a duffel bag.
Right?
Maybe 4 duffel bags.
Yeah. Definitely. That's the end of that scene. We're back in the ice cream parlor now with Steve, and Steve's trying to flirt with the girls who comes in, and he keeps failing, which must be really hard for Steve, because in high school Steve was like Rico Suave,
Mhm.
and now he's just a dumbass who works in an ice cream store.
I don't
Now
think
his
that really works though, because usually dudes that have no reason to be picking up chicks
Mhm.
continue to pick up chicks inevitably. Like it,
Not in the 80s. You gotta
regardless.
remember, in the 80s, that was the height of preppies, like chicks wanted money, and if you're working at an ice
I,
cream parlor, you
you
ain't
know that
making no
that hasn't
money.
changed, right?
Well, now it just depends on the chick.
No, there was cool chicks back then, but most chicks are still attracted to dudes with good looks and money.
Yeah. Well, I don't hang out with those chicks, so I don't know. Then again, I hang out with mostly guys anyway, so I wouldn't know that.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, you see, they're bitches. That's why I hang out with guys.
No, yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, but Robin, the chick that you thought was cute, she's like
Mhm.
keeping a board in the back of
Yeah,
how many times Steve fails to pick up chicks, and it's the loser count, and he was up to like 7 or something like that. So Steve can't get the chicks anymore. He thought it was the hat. He took off the hat, but
it's a
whatever.
shame.
Poor Steve.
I got yelled at for hat fishing chicks at work.
Hat fishing chicks.
Yeah, like catfishing. But
Oh,
but
hat
I
fishing.
wear a hat all the time, and then every once in a while I have my hair and they think I'm somebody else for a minute, and they're like, "Hey, fucking hat
Nope, same
fishing
person.
bitches all the time."
That's funny.
I mean, I'll admit it does change the way. I mean, I'm different.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't think you're that different.
I think it changes the whole look of my whole head.
I don't think it does.
What's the chick's name that works at the ice cream place?
Robin.
Robin.
Robin. I read her name tag. That's the only reason why I know. I paused it to read her name tag.
Oh shit, wrong button. I'm trying to find her. Go ahead, carry on.
So, all right. So now we're back to Hopper, and Hopper and Joyce. They're still in the pharmacy. Joyce hasn't gotten any customers yet. Hopper's practicing his heart to heart with Joyce. Like, he actually wrote it down, and now he's trying to memorize it and repeat it back, kind of like what we did for tests back in the 80s and
Mm-hmm.
90s. And Hopper and Joyce are sitting next to each other. And Joyce, being the nice person that she is, she puts her hand on top of Hopper's, like, "Oh honey, it'll be okay." And Hopper looks up, and he looks into her eyes, and he's like, "Hey,
Yeah, he got mushy.
yeah," he's like, "You want to have some dinner later, just so that we could keep talking like this and practice the heart to heart. And if you don't have any plans." And like, Joyce is like, looks into Hopper's eyes, and Hopper's looking into her eyes, and no, Joyce can't. She just
It's the
can't.
Bob. Oh, Bob. Oh,
It's
here we
all
go.
because of Bob. She's still heartbroken over
Robin
Bob.
Buckley is the character's name.
Robin Buckley. Fucking Bob, though. Fucking
Right?
Bob. Damn it, Bob.
Bob indeed.
But I think Hopper loves her.
That
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I think
Robin
it's
is
gonna happen.
Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's daughter.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, dead
Wow.
serious.
Wow.
No wonder she's cute.
Yeah, right? Damn. She's got them good genes in her. So we're done with the whole Hopper and Joyce thing. Dustin and the gang start hiking up a mountain. It looks like the hills are alive with the sound of music. all grassy summer afternoon.
That's funny. That's where you went with that.
That's where I went with that. They're all lugging suitcases and bags of equipment and shit. Mike and Elle are taking up the back, and then Mike's like, "Oh no, we have curfew. We have to go. Okay, bye." And those two grab, holding hands, and they go scampering away.
Mm-hmm. They're gonna have field sex.
Yeah, right. and they're like, Justin's like, "What the hell? It's only 4:00." And Will's like, "They've been like that all summer long." And Max is like, "I think it's cute." And everybody else are like, "Yeah, we think it's annoying, blah, blah, blah."
Mm-hmm.
And the guys are mad, and it seems like Max and Lucas aren't in that brand new relationship mode anymore. So,
Mm-hmm.
and Max is watching, Elle and Mike, and Lucas is just like being a guy.
Yeah.
And so that's what I got from that. But then all of a sudden, Will senses something. And that's when I started thinking that maybe he's connected,
Mm-hmm.
to whatever's going on right now. And because he's like looking up, he's looking around, he's got that stressed look on his face.
Yeah.
And then in the grass, you see like all these rats running around, which is like really weird. Like, dude, tons of rats, like Pied Piper type shit.
But those were all in the scene with the dirt swirling up at the beginning.
Yeah. And now they pan over to the abandoned warehouse, which happens to be an old steel mill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And all the rats are like hundreds of rats are swarming into this steel mill, and they're all going downstairs. And as soon as they get downstairs in the warehouse, they like explode.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
that was like, wild.
It's like popcorn rats down there. Mm-hmm. Like, what the hell is going on? Like,
you know what you're not going to find in an old abandoned steel mill?
Popcorn rats?
Just rats.
Just rats.
What are they eating in there?
I don't know.
Rats hang out where there's food.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
I didn't understand that at all, where I was like, there's not going to be a bunch of rats in an old empty building. Like,
well, something was like calling to the rats. Like they were following, like it was like a magnet for those rats. Okay?
Well, no, I mean, in the first scene, though, they were just kind of milling about.
Yeah.
When the dirt started moving. That's
true.
That
in
was
the first
when I was
scene,
like, what the? What's going? Why are all these rats here? That's the shit that Brady gets pissed off at me about. He's like, why do you think about shit like that? You just ruin everything. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just how my brain works. Yeah. I'm like, oh, rats don't do that.
Yeah. Just like that Dina chicken in Starship Troopers, pointy boobs.
Those
didn't
are
make
fantastic.
Sense.
I don't know why the fuck you got it.
I don't even know why you bother with those boobs. Those boobs wouldn't even fill up half your palm.
They don't have to.
Anyway, let's go back. Now Karen is swimming. Okay, Karen's swimming.
She's crazy.
She's like doing the backstroke.
I completely forgot that Karen was married.
Oh yeah, I don't even remember his name. Lazy boy guy.
Yeah.
But
I'd completely forgotten. I was like, oh, I forgot at the end of last season when fucking what's his face put the moves on her. It didn't even occur to
me. Stupid Billy,
home wrecker Billy.
And Billy's like licking his whistle like he's gonna get some, okay, and just like staring at her tits as she's doing the breaststroke. Like she knows what she's doing.
Those were pretty abnormally perky for that time
for a mom of 3. Yeah, it's called padding.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, chicks bathing suits, especially in the 80s, had padding.
Those when she swam,
Mhm.
they didn't move. That
Yeah.
wasn't because of padding. That was because those ain't real.
It's the padding.
Yeah, well, they're padded from the inside.
Well, Billy obviously likes them.
Yeah,
And then when
he's
she
good
got
with it.
out of the water, he's like, they're flirting with each other. And Billy offers private advanced lessons
Mhm. Workout
at the
unlike she's ever had.
Motel 6 at
Yeah.
night.
Yeah, because I have a very private pool there.
Private pool at night.
Yeah.
Mm. And he promises to give her the workout of her life.
Push-ups. Squats and push-ups for an hour.
Right. All right. I see I have like 24 and a half minutes. So
Yeah, you're doing good.
I'm doing good. I'm right on pace. We're gonna go back over to Lucas. They're still on the mountain, of course, minus Elle and Mike, who ran off. Lucas takes out his canteen. He's so thirsty. He drinks all the water with Max watching him.
I was like, what? Why is this a minute? Why are we taking a minute to watch the kid drink the water?
Yeah.
And then it
Because
doesn't come back.
Max wanted some water. And Lucas drank all the water. And Max like, you just gotta drink all the water? So what does he do? He spits his last mouthful into the canteen and says, here you go.
Right.
Like, dude, no wonder why Max is getting so annoyed with you. Like, I would have been annoyed with him. That annoyed me just watching that.
You think that's why that's in there? Is they were like, oh, we need to trail Max getting annoyed with. Okay.
I think so. I think that's exactly why that was there. We're showing that their relationship is getting a little bit rocky because it's not new anymore, like Mike and Elle.
Okay.
Yeah. The gang, they're starting to build the antenna tower. It's all built now. And Dustin tries to contact Susie, and Susie's not answering. Susie from Utah. And he's giving excuses like, oh, it's dinner time, and maybe she's taking a nap, and they're all like, yeah, there probably is no Susie.
Mm-hmm.
So then we pan over to Joyce. Comes home to an empty house, and she gets some leftover lasagna, I think, and looks like some leftover canned peas with this honking 80s microwave, which yay for her. She got a microwave, but microwaves were huge back then.
Right.
Huge microwave.
And you could only put something little in them. They were giant boxes, and you could put
little teeny tiny. Yeah. So she nukes her dinner, and she pours herself a glass of wine, and she goes into the living room because she's all alone. And who
eats lasagna and peas?
It's another thing. I was like, it sounds like a Joyce thing because,
I
Joyce
don't know. I don't understand.
Have it all together.
I don't know how the fuck you fuck that up. You might as well have had carrots. Like,
yeah.
Like, what? What? Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised it was even homemade lasagna. Joyce is more of a Stouffer's girl.
You can do like cauliflower or broccoli or something, but not peas.
Personally, I wouldn't even do that. I would serve a lasagna with a salad, and that's
you could do that, or like snap peas or something. But not no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So poor Joyce, she goes into the living room. She sits down, she turns on her TV, and she starts watching Cheers, which was like, oh, I like that show. But then she has a flashback to when her and fucking Bob
Fucking Bob.
fucking Bob used to snuggle on the couch together, saying, I wish Sam and her would get back together again. And in this episode, Sam was marrying her. I can't remember what her name was. They didn't say it in the episode. No. The one before her, Shelley Long, played her. Yeah, I know. It was that long ago. But whatever the case, they used to say, oh, I wish they would get back together. And in this episode she's watching, they're getting ready for a wedding that Frasier is going to officiate. And I was like, oh, fucking Bob. So now she's all sad. And then it pans on to like Bob Newby Superman. Remember when Bob Newby was a superhero? Picture hanging up on the fridge. And for absolutely no reason, all the magnets fall on the floor. So
she was Diane Chambers.
Diane, that's it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. What was his name?
Sam.
Sam and Diane.
Sam and Diane.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a big deal.
It was a big deal. I remember that episode. But yeah, so all the magnets fall. So it could be one of two things. It could be
fucking Bob.
In the upside down. Yes, that was the other thing. Like whatever in the upside down is coming back, or it's fucking Bob and fucking Bob's haunting your house. I don't know.
You want to make a bet that when somebody gets killed by something from the upside down, they end up in the upside down?
Oh shit. So you think like
D&D.
Fuck. Damn, that is a great theory. I'm writing that down for the future.
Okay, because if it might come back and they're like, nobody goes to the upside and Todd's an idiot. Episode 5, season 5. Todd's an idiot.
Dead equals upside down. Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna be dumb as snooch.
Yeah, and what's the date? I mean, what's not the date today, but the date today when this is airing.
It's the 24th.
Thank you.
6/24. I said that in the future.
Got it. Yes.
All right. Bob knocked the magnets off. That's my thing.
Bob knocked the magnets off. Or maybe the thing from the upside down, whatever, is coming back to haunt Will. We don't know. But yeah, I think it was Bob.
Maybe.
Fucking Ghost Bob.
Ghost Bob.
Ghost Bob. And then now we're at the office. It's nighttime. Nancy is also the cleaning girl, apparently. And she's like cleaning up the office. And the phone rings. She answers it because we know there were no like answering machines back then. And this caller is phoning into the newspaper something about diseased rats.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so we got that going on. Now we're over at Hopper's house, and Elle and Mike are making out, and they're listening to music again. And Hopper's in the next room, and he's just like practicing this heart-to-heart to himself because he knows he's getting ready to have it. He knocks on the door, Elle opens it with her force powers. Hopper's trying to say something and he can't get the words out, and Elle and Mike are giggling, and Hopper turns off the radio, and now like Mike is whispering in Elle's ear and Elle's giggling and they're flirting, and he's like, you know what, Mike, I have to take you home. Something with your Nana. You need to go home right now.
Right.
And he's like, is my Nana dead? Is my Nana sick? He's like, come on, get in the truck. We got to go home. Get in the truck. And Hopper turns full-blown dad on Mike.
Can you imagine being that age and being there making out with your boyfriend, and then your parent comes in and starts talking to you guys, and you're having little snickery fucking secrets? Bullshit. That would not happen.
I would so be on the opposite end of the
Yeah,
bed.
you would have been so freaked out at the weirdly intimate fucking in your
Mhm.
face. There would have been none of that. And I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, my mother was terrible. I didn't date that much in high school, but I did have this guy that I was with for a while, and the door always needed to be open. No sneaking around. My mom was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I get it. Hopper is doing exactly what a good parent does. And he threatened the shit out of Mike.
Fuck yeah, he did.
He's like, you little shit. If you disrespect me one more time, you're never going to see Elle again.
I can't believe in that moment
Mm-hmm.
that he didn't flip the fuck out.
Yeah. He stayed calm, which was good, even though he was like a little weird. Like Mike called him psychotic, but he stayed calm, which is exactly what Joyce told him he needs to do. He's like,
Right.
you need to remain calm.
The only thing I can think of is because they've been through all this together, Mike oddly thinks that they're peers somehow.
That's what I got out of it too, because
And Hopper
yeah.
had to be like, no, I'm the grown up and you are a teenager.
Yeah, like you need to stop looking at me as that guy, and you need to begin to look at me as Elle's dad, because I'm legally Elle's dad now, you know?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I got out of it too. Oh, so he gets Mike freaks out. Hopper puts him in his place, and he's like, nod if you understand. Mike's like,
I loved that. He's just like,
I did too. I did too. And I appreciate it even more now that I'm a parent, you know, like, because like you go, Hop. I love him. So now we're back over at Dustin. Okay. It's nighttime. He's still trying to reach Susie, and he's not getting anywhere. Max and Lucas are like, well, maybe he's lying about Susie, you know, and they leave because it's nighttime, you know,
right.
And then Will leaves, but before he leaves, he's like, maybe we can do something tomorrow like we used to do. Like maybe we could play some Dungeons and Dragons. And Dustin's like, yeah. And he leaves, and now Dustin's all alone.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to contact Susie a couple more times, but now Dustin hears a man talking in Russian. Right. Like his radio tower worked, you know?
Well, that was the thing I thought was interesting, because like I'm sitting there thinking, why would he go up on this mountain, set all this up when there's no girl on the other side? Like it's the weirdest.
I think there is a girl.
Well, that's why I was thinking. I was like, it's the weirdest ruse with no payoff. And then when they walked away, he was still trying to get a hold of her. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, there's a girl.
Yeah. I think the gang thinks that, well, maybe he's making it up about the girl so that he fits in because, you know, they're all starting to pair off. But, you know.
Because it's that, like, that whole teenage, like, oh, yeah, I have a girlfriend. She's in Canada. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Sure she is, bro.
Yeah. But I think she really is.
It seems to be.
I think he really does have a girlfriend.
But I do want to say, like, this, I had a problem with this scene in the same way I did with the rats. Like, radio transmissions work based on line of sight. So where they're at, I can't remember what state they're in.
I think it's Illinois. No, I think they're in Illinois.
Okay, so there's no line of sight from Illinois to Russia.
No, but it's a ham radio tower. Ham radios operate on different frequencies.
Ham radios operate on bouncing signal off multiple, but he says that it would receive signal from the North Pole to the South Pole. That's, I'm like, it doesn't.
I just believe.
I was confused. I'm like, I don't know that.
Yeah.
Like ham radios receive signal because they bounce off other ham radios.
That makes sense.
So
Yeah.
it's like if you're getting a ham radio signal from a guy in North Dakota, that signal might be going through 25 people's radios
Right.
before it gets to you, which is why you can hear other people's shit if you change the channels.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do that from Russia?
Through the upside down.
All right, fine. I can't argue against that.
Yes, I win.
I guess maybe you could from Siberia bounce it to Alaska.
It's true.
Maybe
It's true. Or they're
if
close
anybody
to the upside down, and there's an upside down in Hawkins, so maybe it goes like that.
Maybe
we shall see.
Anybody in the chat that knows about ham radios, say Don's an idiot.
Anybody in the chat, don't we forgot to say this at the beginning of the episode. This is our first watch, so don't tell us what happens.
Right.
Yeah, never tell
100%.
us what happens. And if we're wrong, just continue to laugh at us. We're okay with that.
Never tell me the odds.
Never. No.
All right. 7 minutes, Kelly.
I can do this. Okay, so we're hearing this guy speaking Russian. So, of course, we have to pan over to Russia, to the Russian lab, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote this down because I know it's going to be important in the future, but I have no idea what it means right now. It's the silver cat feeds when blue meets yellow in the West. A trip to China sounds nice. If you tread lightly, this week is long. I have no clue what any of that means, but we'll know by the end of the season.
Well, if my spycraft is any good, whoever it is that he's talking to has the decoder for that.
I'm sure.
All those sentences mean something else.
I'm sure. I try to decipher it, like taking the first letter of each word, and I'm like, this makes no fucking sense. So like, whatever. And that's
not how ciphers work. They probably use the third letter in the first one and the fifth letter in the second one, and because that's how you do that. Yeah,
exactly. So I don't have the patience to decipher it. I used to do that stuff for fun, but I don't have the patience right now.
You ever watch that movie about the touring guy that figured out the code that the Nazis were using?
Oh, with Blueberry Kootlesnooch?
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch. Benedict.
Butterdick.
Super good movie. Don't remember what it's called.
I don't remember, but I saw parts of it because DB was watching it.
It's good.
DB has to watch every movie that ever comes out.
Watch the whole thing. It's good.
Someday I will.
Moving on.
All right, moving on. And they pan from the guy in the doing the whole like blah 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 on the radio, and we see the one scientist who wasn't killed a year ago, who, there were two keys and two scientists. The one guy who didn't die is there. And it looks like there's a whole new Hadron Collider shit. Okay. I'm a nerd. That's the only way I can explain that. It looked like a Hadron Collider to me. Not only smaller. So we're all done in Russia now. Now we're back at Karen, okay? And Karen is in the bathroom getting sexified. Her hair is sexy. Her makeup is sexy. She's putting on perfume on all of her pulse points. And she is ready. And she wears something low cut. And she's red. Lady in red. She takes off her wedding rings. I'm like, oh, Karen wants to be a cougar tonight. She's going to the Motel 6.
What's the point of that? He already knows she's married.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Maybe she can't have an affair with her rings on. I don't know. Chicks are like that too. She looks over at husband and Ted. Ted was his name, wasn't it?
Ted.
Fucking
Yep.
Ted. Ted's in the lazy boy.
You got 2 minutes.
I can do this.
Run, Kelly.
Ted's in the lazy boy snoozing. Billy is practicing what he's going to say to Karen. He's driving. Something smashes his windshield and then he crashes. And where is he? He's at the fucking warehouse where all the rats are. He gets out. He looks at his windshield. He touches it. It's goo. Fucking goo. And then we hear noises. Okay. And then something invisible grabs him by the ankle and pulls him into the warehouse and pulls him down the stairs. And we hear Billy screaming. And then we don't hear Billy screaming. And we hear rats squeaking. And then we don't hear rats squeaking. And then we hear something growling. The end.
Yay.
Yay.
Super good episode. I was so happy to be back in it.
I totally am too. So we will be back with you guys in 2 weeks. And we'll see you then. 2 weeks, 9 p.m.
Be good.
Be good.
Or be bad.
Bye.
Bye.